Hi everyone, Emma Davidson here from the Global Value Fund. GVF has just released its half-year accounts, and this is a 5-minute video that hopefully hits the highlights of those. As GVF enters its 11th year, I'm very pleased to say that it's been another great start to the financial year 2025. To put some numbers to that statement, for the 6-month period from the 1st of July 2024 through to the 31st of December 2024, global share markets rose 13.8% in Australian dollars. Global bond markets in Aussie rose 9.7%. Australian shares rose 6.9%. And the GVF investment portfolio rose 11.2%. For those who look at the GVF share price and the share market returns, the GVF shareholder returns for the period were 13.2%. Turning to the financials now, GVF maintained a solid dividend of 3.3 cents per share, fully franked for the half, so 6.6 cents per annum. That grosses up to 9.4 cents or a 7% yield on the current share price. And just a reminder that 7% yield is from a much lower risk, highly diversified portfolio. Back on the financials and page 6, the GVF profit reserve now sits at more than $66 million, which covers the current dividend well into 2029. Franking covers the next 12 to 18 months at that rate, fully franked. Another highlight for me in the financials is Miles's letter to investors in the Appendix 4D. As usual, the letter is informative, it's articulate, and it really provides an insight into how Miles, Mark, James, and Marius think about the GVF strategy. In the letter, they set the scene with the time-worn market maxim: bears sound clever, bulls make money. And they go to talk about the dilemma that investors are faced with today, what to do with our capital when global share markets look wildly overvalued on just about every traditional measure that we have. It really does make for a great read if you can find the time. Also in the financials is the fact that once again, the uncorrelated discount capture element of the GVF strategy has contributed to the majority of the returns so far this year. To end off my 5-minute review, I might just reflect on Jonathan Trollope's observation that GVF has now paid out 90 cents in dividends and franking since the day it IPO'd at $1. In addition, the dollar is now worth $1.40. It sounds impressive, but is it? To check, I looked at 3 different investor profiles. A young investor, maybe a child or a grandchild that came in at the IPO and decided to reinvest everything via the dividend reinvestment plan. Then I looked at a middle-aged investor like myself who maybe decided to reinvest half the returns and maybe keep the other half of the returns to pay the mortgage. And then I looked at a retiree who has decided to take all of the returns in income. That is the default setting for investors coming into GVF. So what happened? Well, in the case of the child, their 10,000 has tripled over 10.5 years. In the case of the middle-aged person who did half and half, their 10,000 has turned into 22,000 and they've received just over 4,000 in cash and franking. For the retiree, their 10,000 is worth 14,000 today, and the investor has had 9,000 in income. Those sorts of figures, in my mind, are impressive on their own. But in the context of the risk that was taken to achieve those results, the numbers become outstanding. Just on risk, if anyone is interested in seeing some of the risk metrics that we measure ourselves at and against at GVF, please reach out to me directly. To put GVF return numbers another way, in the 10.5 years that we've been going, there hasn't been a single down year. Touch wood. All that said, nothing would be possible without our shareholders. It's thanks to all of you that we're here and able to report on 10.5 years of results. So thank you.